Hello. It is time for our Rise of the False Gods book study. You know, I can't forget what time it is when it's time for the book study because Tish came out to let me know. She's like, hello, isn't it time for us to go on camera? I'm ready for my close-up. Here, you ready for your close-up? There we are. Look at that pretty close-up. Can you go wrong with that precious kitty cat? Oh, well, I'm so glad that you are with me tonight. And couple little things. First of all, if it's your first time and you enjoy this video, please go to YouTube where you can type in Rise of the False Gods, Reverend Alicia Leslie. No, I didn't put the Reverend in there. I didn't put it in there for a reason. I didn't want people to get thinking it was overly religious. This is spiritual, it's metaphysics, it's everything. So anyway, if you want to see more videos, that's where you can see them. And the other thing is, if you saw my Hunker Down Holiday video, you already know this, but if you didn't, you may not be aware that I got a gift today. Look at that. Now, I'm thinking it's a chrysanthemum. Would that seem to be what it is? But the thing is, number one, I don't know what it is. Number two, I don't know how to take care of it. Now, it came with a pot and potting soil. So I'm not sure. Am I supposed to plant this outside? Is it a perennial, an annual? Somebody, please, if you know, let me know. They are mums. Okay, so then Cheryl, I expect that you're going to be able to tell me how to take care of it. I have my own nickname for myself, and that is Plant Kevorkian. I don't do well with flowers. Now, when I had a vegetable garden, I did pretty good. The flowers, not so much for some unknown reason. Well, let's get into our book study for tonight. Know that interruption for my flowers. Yes, I can water them, Cheryl, but do I plant them outside? Or do I leave them inside? Or do I put them outside until they die? Okay, you can plant them outdoors. Sometimes they return the next year. We do have some by the entry of the campground that have been coming back year after year. Either that or my sister puts in new ones. Well, I'd like this one to last. And so I guess I'll plant it outside and hope for the best. All righty then. Let's get to our book study. Tonight we are going to be starting on page 114. We are making progress. Now, what was I going to say? Lost my train of thought. Oh, questions are welcome. Always feel free to add your comments or questions. I may not see them right now. I may not see them till after I review the video. So please be sure to, if you have a question or a comment, leave it. You can also like it and share it. That's much appreciated. All right. We are going to begin tonight. We're talking about verses, which are two related words. They either get confused or confusing. They could be a paradox, or they could be just a very interesting difference of opinion. So I hope you enjoy it. So tonight we start off with ignorance versus ignorance. I never had a need to think about these two words until the past 4 years, going on 5 years. Ignorance is a lack of knowledge or awareness. Some say ignorance is bliss, but in reality, ignorance makes us vulnerable, especially right now with the COVID virus. A lot of people, they're told how dangerous it is on an intellectual level. They say, okay, Some people say fake news, not true. You know, probably 3 or 4 months ago, some people actually posted videos. And the videos showed hospital parking lots and hospitals, and they said, oh, this COVID thing is nothing. They're lying. It's a Democratic plot, and on and on. Now, were they ignorant or were they ignorant, knowing but not caring, or not wanting to know, or not believing, or believing something else that they were fed that was truly fake news? Especially in these days, ignorance, which is knowing and ignoring, can kill. Not knowing is a pretty sad thing. I think it was Albert Einstein, somebody said, that an unexamined life is not worth living. We want to examine our lives. We want to get to know the truth about who we are, what we think, feel, believe, whether integrity with ourselves, where our growth areas are. So ignorance is absolutely not bliss. It makes us dependent on others, and we feel disempowered. You can't stand on a foundation of, what should we say, raw eggs, because they're going to crack. Everything's going to come tumbling down. A truth is that knowledge is power. We are all powerful spiritual beings, but if we don't know or we don't care, we are going to be actually working against ourselves. So if we have ignorance, shoot, that's very easily solved. We can study, we can research, doesn't take long. So because knowledge is power, and ignorance is dangerous, and ignorance can be, especially today, deadly. That would make, are you ready? Gonna crank up the S word. Ignorance is a sin. What do we mean by sin? An error, a mistake. It's something that causes useless, unnecessary suffering. To know what is right or true and make a conscious choice is wise. But to ignore it in favor of doing what one wants is contrary to spiritual law, bringing adverse effects. People can stand and pronounce that the COVID virus is a hoax, that it's fake news, that it's over-exaggerated, that it's not that dangerous, that it only affects old people. It's a plot. But, buying into that, which apparently millions of people did who traveled over this holiday season, over Thanksgiving season, the danger was there. And they went anyway. And they flew, and they were with people they hadn't seen, and we don't know where those people had been. The virus is such an easy thing to attribute it to. I'm wondering what people are going to think 20 or 30 years from now, or the next generation. What they're going to say, what was wrong with those people? By then, it will be absolutely obvious what was truth and what was not. Okay. The next one that we're going to look at, I've done it before again and again, and so I'm assuming this will just be a quick little jaunt through this. personality and individuality. Actors wear a mask, creating a persona or personality. We have a mask we present to the world. It's how people see us or how we want them to. We change our mask or our personality according to where we are and who we're speaking with. Joyce Meyer tells a very funny example of this. She will talk about being, when her kids were little, being at home and the kids running around and screaming and making noise and her screaming at them to pick up their toys, and like she's having one of those really challenging days and she's about to go out of her mind and the doorbell rings and she goes to the doorbell and she puts her hand on the doorknob, and she takes a deep breath and she opens it, and it's like, there's her minister. Oh, Reverend, how wonderful to see you. Have you done that? What about even answering the phone? You're having a really bad day and you're acting out and you're into your anger or rage or pity party or whatever, and you pick up the phone and you can change your attitude just like that. I'm not a good snapper. Just like that. With my ex-husband, I could always tell, and this was not what you think it is. I could always tell the difference whether he was talking to a female or a male. So I don't mean like it was a flirty thing. It was just a whole change his persona would take on. He'd be talking to one of his guys, oh yeah, and then if my mother or a friend or something called, he'd be like, oh, hi, how you doing? It was just that whole change. Now, we all do that. So pay attention to yourself and you'll see how you do that. And so that's the power we have. We have the power to change our mind and change our experience at any time. What's not visible is our individuality. Too often, our individuality is what we don't show people. That is our uniqueness. It is our God spark. As we mature, provided we mature spiritually, the mask of personality fades as the individuality emerges. Sometimes we put on a confident attitude like, oh, we have wonderful airs about how wonderful we are. I always love to use the example about, you're in a group of people and you're being ever so gregarious and enjoying the party, and then you go to the restroom and you come out and you look in the mirror and there is a big old piece of broccoli between your teeth, and you go from feeling like this wonderful elegance to feeling like, oh my God, no. What's right up there? Telling the truth. How many people will tell the truth if you've got broccoli between your teeth? If your fly is down, if you're a man or a woman, or if you got that toilet paper stuck to your shoe? That's a real friend. A real friend will tell you these things, trusting that you love them and that your love for them is good enough that they can be honest with you. Whether it's telling you you're behaving poorly, or whether it's maybe suggesting, you don't spend money you don't have, or that you've got an ego, it matters. But real friends love you enough to be honest with you. So I know I've explained this before, but there may be folks watching who haven't heard this before. In astrology, there are glyphs. Glyphs are the little symbols, of the different signs and planets and houses. Well, the sun is a circle with a dot in the middle, and the moon is a crescent. And what that represents is the sun, what looks like a circle with a dot in it, that represents the individuality. And the circle is the allness of God, and that dot in the middle is the individuality that you are. That is your real you. The moon, now you notice as the months go on and the years pass that the sun, the shadow of the sun, will fall between the earth and the moon, or the shadow of the moon will fall between the earth and you know what I'm saying. I'm not really that. I'm astrological, not astronomical. So, as the shadow comes across the moon, we go from the new moon, which is all black, to the first quarter, where it starts to make a crescent, to the full moon, which is all bright, and then to the last quarter, which is a crescent on the other side. And what this indicates when we're speaking in astrology is that the sun, who we really are, casts the shadow. The moon is only a reflection of the sun. Our personality is only a reflection of the current state of, it changes. Sun never changes, but, the moon changes. So think about this, that what you present, the mask or the persona you present to the world, is a reflection of what you are. It's not the real you. Some people get freaked out when I say we want to evolve our personality. And they go, no, I've been told I have a great personality. Well, good, you probably do. But that's not what it means. The personality is the temporary part of you, and the individuality is the fullness of all you are, the permanent, eternal part of you. And most of us don't really trust the beauty of our individuality if we try to measure our worth against others. We don't need to. You don't need to put on any airs. You don't need to put on anything. I'm of that age now, where the first time I heard it, I wasn't of that age. And unfortunately, I cannot recite the whole thing. But it's called, "When I am an old woman, I will wear purple." Well, I'm looking a little blue right now, but as people that know me, this is going to be purple pretty darn quick. But anyways, it talks about how rebellious you can get when you're older, because you really don't care. You don't have to impress anybody. You can just be yourself. You can let your individuality be, because it's not important what other people think of you. It's important what God thinks of you, what your inner being, your inner truth about you, that's what matters. Think about that with personality versus individuality. The personality can be hurt, manipulated. The individuality never can. For most of us, the individuality is what our friends and family see, our real friends and family that we don't have to worry about, that love us anyway, that love us just the way we are, that you relax and a whole different energy comes out. I went on a lot longer about that since I've done it so much, but I think it's so important. Okay, now we move on to patriarchal versus matriarchal. It's a seatbelt one. You may not like it. The greatest error thinking which prevails in human consciousness is a black and white, this or that thinking of the carnal mind. It is the lower mind that doesn't see the allness and fullness of all we are and all we do. So they only see the black and white, the physical, the shadows and everything, that when you step back far enough and get a look, you see another whole thing. Remember that song, From a Distance? God is watching us from a distance, because God sees a bigger picture. And the more we make ourselves able, we acclimate ourselves to the possibility of stepping back and looking at the big picture, we're going to see things so differently. Okay, we have an ongoing issue. It's called the battle of the sexes. It's a reality of life. We've been living in a patriarchal culture for thousands of years. Well, we're coming to the age of Aquarius, just saying. There were times, when it was different, when the women were the ones. It was a matriarchal culture. And over the planet, over the generations and eons, it shifts that, either one or the other is driving the boat. Women have had, because we've been living in a patriarchal culture, women have had to fight for equality, including the right to vote and equal pay. And equal pay is still not achieved. They have discovered this when they do. Researchers have discovered it when they can get into, the facts of what people are earning. There is inequality in the corporate world and lack of respect for those who choose the critical and difficult role of homemaker. Some women are embarrassed to say they're just a homemaker. Boy, is that a misnomer, because homemakers are so powerful. So powerful. They say, and I believe this, you can think this out. The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. It's where children get love and nurture, and you can create. I loved being a homemaker. I loved having a garden. I was not limited to the expression of life. I taught classes. I belly danced. I sold. I went out and I had little, part-time jobs and stuff like that. But homemaking, and Cheryl points out, homemaker is a hard job whether you work outside the home or not, and that is absolutely true. Even me, I'm only making a home for me and the cat right now, but it's a happy and a busy life, especially when you're doing it all by yourself, and especially when you have to fight the negative influence of thinking you're alone, and that's one of the things I do my my historic hunkered down holiday videos. It is so people, even if they're alone, they're making a home. And that's a lot of work too. I don't seem to get to all my little odds and ends. Anyway, many women believe it's time to shift the paradigm to matriarchy. Now that satisfies the lower, long-suffering female soul, but that's again an error, because it's not about either patriarchy or matriarchy being in control. It's about achieving balance. And today that has even changed a lot, where we have what do they call them? Fathers, that at-home fathers. Okay, I just can't think of that moment. Mr. Mom. Remember the movie Mr. Mom? So we have men making the home. Some men are more gifted at it. Remember, when I'm talking male, female realities, it encompasses both the actual physical realities between male and female, and then the male-female energies within us that we have to be balanced. Yeah, stay-at-home dads. That's, yeah. It's funny how every once in a while you get a word, you gotta like, what did I mean by that? Anyway, the trick is we need to balance the male-female energy. That way we engage the true creative power. And now we see, especially recently, in recent years, more women who are coming up in corporations. They're coming up in in churches. You know, being a female minister was a not that many years ago. Probably 100 years ago, a female minister would be like totally unheard of. The Fillmores, let's see, I think that Unity's about 110 or 20 years old. Those have been around even longer than me would know that. But anyway, it's probably older. Well, anyway, I'm not going to nitpick on that. But the thing is, we're coming into balance, and some women say that the women need to take over. And the women don't need to take over as long as the men are willing to step back and share. It has to be balanced. I think I talked about that the other night. Okay, a functioning whole must have a balance of both male and female energies. There must be a new standard established. We require both the protecting and providing qualities of the masculine nature, balanced with the loving and nurturing quality of feminine. We have both within us. We simply need to bring that balance. And we can do that. There is, and I'm sure we'll get into it again down the road, is the creative process, which I talk about sometimes. And that is about that God is the creator of all ideas. And we receive the ideas through our present level of awareness. And then through the combined energy of our thinking and feeling nature, we create. And it takes both the thinking and the feeling nature to create something, what we think and feel together, the energy, the thought combined with the feeling, manifests whatever we are focusing on. Back to the old cake example, which I use all the time. You see a picture of a beautiful piece of chocolate cake with gooey chocolate frosting on it. It's a commercial on TV. Or how about those commercials that have a simple bowl of corn with butter melting on it? Or what about, this one'll get you, it gets everyone, macaroni and cheese, and they're dishing it out, and the cheesy sauce is stretching out, and next thing you know, you're out there grabbing a box of Kraft Dinner. If that's what you got to have that mac and cheese. But it's the thought seed was planted, the energy, the emotions, oh yes, connected with it, and bingo, we got mac and cheese. If we had just thought, oh, we've got popcorn, yeah, popcorn's a good one. And then, now you made me think about popcorn. My brain went off to the movies, But the thing is, if we only had thoughts and didn't have an emotional, a feeling connection to it, nothing would manifest. It is the feeling, the feminine, that interacts with the thinking, the masculine, that creates the sperm and the egg. It creates. So think on these things. Think about your own internal masculine, feminine energies. I have a lot of masculine energy. You might not have noticed it, but I'm kind of assertive. That's a masculine quality. I am protective, I play in the sandbox. A lot of my jobs were jobs that men typically do. That does not take away one iota from my feminine part. I'm feminine. I'm just not foo-foo. Now my sister, foo-foo. She's always got her makeup on and everything, you know. It takes me about 35 seconds to put my makeup on. A little blush, little lipstick, and draw in my eyebrows because you see I only have half eyebrows. So if you ever see me when I'm not awake for a while, you'll probably see just the little parts of the eyebrows because when you get older, the last part of your eyebrows sometimes fall out. And if I were really young, I'd have a real issue about that. So, you don't have to be foo-foo to be feminine, and you don't have to be mucho-macho to be masculine. What we need is the balance of the masculine and feminine energies within us, within our family, within our communities. Folks, we are in a period of great change. If we don't learn to change, we'll die. How do you like that? Think on that. And tomorrow, I hope to get through it today, but I just didn't because it's already time to say goodbye. Tomorrow we're going to be starting off and probably finishing. Nope, we've got liberal versus conservative. Which one are you? Are you just one? And then we've got material wealth versus riches. And we absolutely will get through that tomorrow night. And we may even get into the next chapter. Or not. You know, tomorrow's Friday, so we'll probably maybe kick it and do the little bit and be done early. So I'm so happy you were here with me. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And do feel free to like it, to share it, and I will be really looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Till then, be good. God bless. Bye-bye.